Welcome, everyone. This is the Spokane Sangha and Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I am one of the facilitators of this beautiful, beautiful practice. For the month of September, we are exploring a theme, and that theme is interconnection and interbeing, inter-are. These are some of the words that have come to the Western consciousness primarily through the teachings of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. Yesterday, I presented a kind of mantra that I'd like to set as the intention for our practice today as a sentiment of metta. And so I invite you to close your eyes. And as I speak this mantra, just take a nice deep inhale. And inhale, if you can, bring your attention down into the belly, like drop your awareness down into your tummy, your belly, that core part of your body, and slowly allow the body to inhale as something refreshing and joyful and light, and watch the air rise and fill your lungs. And when you take that deep, solid breath, pause for just a moment. Maybe even allow a gentle smile to land on your face. And then exhale, and exhale from the top of the lungs all the way down. And as you come into awareness of the belly, bring in those abdominal muscles just a little bit, just a gentle practice to sort of squeeze out that last bit of air. And then we'll take another deep breath together. Breathing in as a community. It is through the kindness of others that we are here. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. For the duration of this practice, allow your attention to find an anchor in the breath, breathing in, breathing out. Allow your mind and your heart a great deal of freedom and peace. So if your mind wanders and you happen to notice it, joyfully acknowledge, oh, wandering mind, come on back and take a deep breath. The mind wanders because that's what the mind does. And it's so powerful when we can come into the awareness of it. I mean, just the simplest things can take the mind off of a concentrated path. So be at peace with this practice. Enjoy it. Today, I'd like to focus and continue our conversation regarding Vipassana, deep looking meditation. And this week, I have offered 4 different tools as a way to support the practice. And they are actually interconnected. If you can think of these tools a little bit like a Swiss Army knife, lots of different tools for different things to address. So these tools address the same idea, the same concept from different angles, so we can really work with it and look at something from many different angles. And if this is the first time you've joined us this week, I'd like to go ahead and repeat the tools. I call them instruments of peace that I find really helpful when I'm engaging a deep looking practice, when I'm working with a knot in my mind, when I'm working with a tangle in my emotional landscape, when I'm working with a challenging person, somebody who stirs up my stuff, and I have a propensity, I have a habit energy to blame them for stirring me up, making me feel a certain way. And that's just a way to blame. And so, what I like to do is remember, just like me, there are people who are confused, ignorant, unpracticed, unskillful. Just like me, people want to feel safe and loved and seen, acknowledged. Just like me, people want to belong and connect. So let's breathe that in. Just like me, human beings. We're just going to focus on human beings today. We have a capacity for a whole rainbow of emotion. We all have the capacity for limitless landscapes of emotionality and thought. You know, when we have this notion of just like me, suddenly people become a treasure trove of curiosity. And the joyful part of the exploration is the more I understand myself and I see myself in others, the less irritated I become because I've learned to tend to the things about me that I find annoying and unnoble, unskillful, regrettable. And I've started to heal them, and I've started to be kind to those aspects of me that I have had a history of disrespecting and disregarding. And that has extended now out to others. I'll be real with you, not everybody. There are people that I'm like, you, yikes. You are very, very challenging. So I think we're just going to only be able to talk about ice cream or cake. Can't talk about much else. And that brings me to the second instrument of peace, which is, would you look at that? I do not have the capacity or the skill set to really be present to where this person is. I don't want to be present to them. I am judging them. I am annoyed by them. I don't feel like they are just like me. I feel like they are separate and I'm othering them. Huh? Would you look at that? The third tool, instrument of peace, is what else is true? It's often prefaced with, that's true. What else is true? I have the capacity to be unskillful. That is true. It is not, however, the whole truth of me because I also have the capacity to be extraordinarily skillful. Just like me, this individual has the capacity to be unskillful. What else is true? Where are their skills that I do not see? Yesterday, I was challenged by a farmer here in Kansas. And just like me, there was a lot of unskillfulness being expressed, but the skill that was expressed that I thoroughly enjoyed was their knowledge of sorghum combines. I found that fascinating. Oh, and the other thing I found fascinating was water. The water here in the soil of Kansas is very different than the Pacific Northwest. So I was quite intrigued and I was able to stay present to that. Not much else, but that. And that was enough. I invited it to be perfect. And then the final instrument of peace that I like to work with is that whole feeling that we can experience in our connections and relations, like, ugh, this again, oh my God. Ooh, something for me to learn here. So it's a practice I call ugh to ooh. And sometimes we don't always get to that kind of trilling, sing-songy ooh part. We get to oh, and that counts. Ugh, oh, hmm. And it's just a fun and playful and creative way of not staying stuck. Ah, there I go again, judging this person. Ooh, I wonder what the conditions are for me. And that's what we're going to now take into a meditation. And the focus that I'd like to invite today for our deep looking practice using these tools in whatever way comes up for you is the phrase, I'm fine. I'm fine. If I was going to make this nonverbal, I would say something like, blah, blah, wah, wah, because that's the emotional sentimentality to it. Wah, wah, I'm fine. Even if it's true, what else is true? So let's take a look at the conditions around why I say I'm fine, why other people say they're fine, for just a moment. Maybe I'm just going to speak in the first person here. Maybe I say that because I just don't want to get into it with you. I'm fine. It's kind of a conversation stopper, isn't it? I'm fine. I'm sending a message that I don't want to get into it with you. Maybe somebody asks me, "Hey, how you doing?" And I don't actually trust this person to be able to hold my feelings with skill or care. Maybe I don't trust this person with my vulnerability, and I'd really rather, again, not get into it with them. Maybe I'm in automaton mode. It just came out so automatic. Whatever your reason for saying that phrase, I'm fine, I encourage you to treat your propensity, to treat that habit energy as perfect. Invite it to be perfect. Just let it be itself. Why? Because that's what it is. That's the isness of the situation. It happened, so invite it to be perfect. And if you find yourself judging yourself like, oh God, there I go again. Ooh, what can I learn? Can I get curious? What else is here for me to look at? What else is true? Maybe I am quasi fine. What else is true? Perhaps I'm learning to identify my thoughts. Perhaps I'm learning how to identify my emotions and the landscapes that go with them, and I don't quite have the language to be able to explain it. Perhaps I have a relationship to my emotional landscapes and the spectrum of my emotions that are pretty intense fictions. For example, I grew up in an environment where for a woman to express anger, she was immediately diminished by being hysterical, unbelievable, can't be trusted. So anybody, a woman especially, having any kind of anger or frustration, that all had to be suppressed. And so I adopted and inherited that story without even really being able to have the language for it. So when I was angry, through clenched teeth, oh, I'm fine. I'm all good. And it took some practice for me to be able to say, in this moment, thank you for asking. In this moment, I'm working with some anger. And with respect, I'd really rather not get into it right now. Right now, resentment is alive in me. And so I'm taking some time to quietly understand it, understand the conditions of it. And once I do, I'll be able to better explain it to you. Now, that takes a lot more words than I'm fine. But I would suggest that taking the time, allowing the time really for those more words, those additional words, is actually cultivating connection. When I hear other people say, I'm fine, I'm on the receiving end of that. And I can take a moment to look at, oh, when do I say that? What are the conditions for when I'm motivated to say that? And right now, I'm that person for this other individual. Maybe they don't trust me to help them hold their feelings. Maybe they're working with a difficult emotion. I have no idea. And I can't project my experience onto them. All I can do is acknowledge. I hope that's true. I hope you are fine. Your demeanor suggests something else. So if you would like to talk about it, I want you to know that I will be present and respectful. If you also would prefer space to figure it out for yourself, I honor your solitude. What? Who talks like that? We do. Somebody says, I'm fine. Notice what is coming alive for you. Do you feel responsible for them? Do you feel like somehow you need to fix the situation? Do you feel dismissed, kept at arm's length? And if you do, because you're human, and I would expect that you do, I certainly do. So let me just put it back into the first person experience. I do. And sometimes I can get downright mean about it. Somebody says, I'm fine. And I'm like, God, so pissed off. It's so ridiculous. So then I say, would you look at that? Look at me getting all activated because somebody just said something that I'm interpreting as insincere. Huh. What else is true? What is going on here? One of my favorite phrases to say came to my consciousness from a wonderful Sangha member who died in 2017. And she used to say, I care how you are. So when somebody says to me, I'm fine, and depending upon how they say it, like you can hear it. You can hear when it's not sincere and you can hear when it's true. It's so amazing and disarming, really, to be able to say, I'm glad if that's true because I care how you are. And if there's anything you'd like to talk to me about or share, I will meet you at the Balaklohe. I will meet you at the wall, you in your space, me in my space, and I will listen because I care how you are. Let's turn that inward. I care how I am. So I'm going to look at what's active in me, what's alive in me, and begin to discern it, begin to pull it apart, get curious about the conditions, get curious about the emotions, the stories I'm telling myself, the thoughts that are arising. I don't have to do anything with them, just notice. The practice of noticing, the practice of taking stock, taking note, it can be tedious. That's true. It's also true that it is an extraordinary act of compassion and loving kindness and equanimity. So the invitation is to bring joy, mudita, limitless joy to this practice. Take a deep breath. Notice how fine you are. And maybe you'll have a little space to be a little bit more specific, a little bit more clear, and perhaps even a little more true. This will be enormously healing for yourself and by extension, the world. Oh. So, with that, let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. And I'd like to end our practice with the same sentiment of metta, the same sentiment of loving kindness that really encapsulates this notion of interconnectedness. And that is through the kindness of others, I am here. The invitation from this practice is to breathe in that kindness that is all around us, from the clothes we wear to the products that we use to keep our hair and teeth clean, to the parts of our vehicles, to the wrapping, the sterile wrapping on Band-Aids and bandages, to the stranger on the street. so much kindness in this world. Breathe it in, and may this kindness be what you wear on your face through your smile. May this kindness be how your eyes sparkle and see others just like you. May this kindness radiate through that heart space, out through your arms in the way that you embrace someone, hold them. May this kindness land all the way down to your toes so that you can stand and weather any storm, emotional, physical, spiritual, staying anchored in your practice. May the kindness of others come alive as kindness in you, and may you have the courage to share it. Thank you for your beautiful practice today, friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.